Hi guys, it's Meg the Literary Prepper back again. I wanted to talk to you guys about something really important today, and that's our caffeine fixes. So I'm in the process of studying yet another degree, and I don't know about you guys out there who have undertaken any sort of study, but I personally can't sort of get through a major assessment without coffee. So that sort of brings us to another issue of what do we do if the grid goes down and we don't have our normal sort of coffee making facilities. So as far as instant coffee goes, this little guy is our go-to. So we're lovers of Moccona. So in this jar there is 200 grams. That's 200 grams of instant coffee. So if you work it out that a teaspoon of coffee is roughly 10 grams, you should be able to get 20 cups of coffee out of this. Obviously that sort of varies depending on how you guys like your coffee, if you want more or less actual coffee in your coffee. My husband and I drink black coffee, so we don't have to worry about things like milk or sugar in our coffee. So that's another allowance that you guys will have to make if you want to store long life milk or anything like that. Just remember that you've got to compensate for the fact that if there's no electricity, there's no refrigeration. So, maybe you should give black coffee a try and sort of see how it goes. It's better for you anyway. Like if it doesn't have the sugar and the milk in it, then that's less sort of calories or kilojoules that you guys are adding to your diet anyway, which, if you have several a day, then that can really contribute to things like type 2 diabetes later on when you've got too much fats and sugars and your pancreas craps out on you. But if you don't sort of want to go down the plebeian route of instant coffee, then some of the other options that you have are obviously your pod machines like your Nespresso. We don't have ours set up at the moment, but we do have one. But in a grid down situation, that's going to be completely useless to you unless you want to open up each individual pod and sort of make coffee the old school way if you have a coffee plunger or something in your cupboard. The other sort of appliance that we have is this little guy here. So this is a Sunbeam percolator. It cost us about 50 or 60 bucks from Harvey Norman. We're not receiving any money from these guys for advertising. This is just something that we personally use. We've got one here and we've got one at my husband's office as well. But I was curious about whether or not this would still do its thing if we didn't have any power. So I thought I'd make a video and we can find out together. So I'll turn off the power. So this little guy works. So get your coffee filters, which you should have on hand anyway, because they can also work well to hold all of your charcoal and bits and pieces when you're filtering out water. So even if you don't have one of these guys, stock up on some of these because they do come in handy for other bits and pieces. So I've already got one of those in the machine, and this is the coffee we're going to be using today. Shout out to these guys. Again, not receiving any money from them, haven't contacted them. These guys just have a really cool cafe that's not too far from where we live, and we sort of like to go in there because they roast and package all of their own coffee. And I'll include a link to their website because these guys know what they're talking about. If you can't find what you're looking for online, give them a call. These guys know everything about coffee. They're impressive. They really are. They also supply to a number of different sort of cafes around the place. So whilst you may not go to them specifically, you can go to someone who still uses their coffee in their machines. So that's already in the machine, ready to go. Whoops. And here's some water that I've boiled just before recording this. That goes up the top. place that back in its little slot. And without electricity, it doesn't sound like it's doing anything. Well, that's a little bit sad. I'll press start once this finishes. Anywho, so when it comes to actually storing coffee for an emergency situation, let's say that you do have a sort of percolator in the cupboard, like a sort of non-electric one that you want to utilize, or if you're going to make it sort of on the stove, just sort of tie up the little filter bag or throw the coffee in like a muslin cloth or something and just boil it off that way. Or if you've got those tea bags, if you guys seen those, the tea bags with the coffee in them. I haven't tried them, they don't sound fantastic, but it's another option. How long does coffee store? So if we're talking about, this is just the stuff that I showed you before, except it's already in a jar. How long can we keep it? So unfortunately, coffee is one of those products with a high oil content, so it doesn't keep for very long at all before it starts to go rancid. So if you're one of these people who, you know, desperately needs, you know, real ground coffee beans instead of the instant stuff that the rest of us live on, then you know, unfortunately you're going to either have to adapt or go without, like many things. When it comes to instant coffee, this stuff has been freeze dried, so it will last longer. Just make sure that you, unless you intend on using it, don't break the seal, just keep it in a cool, dark place. It, you know, it has a use by date on it, which is more like a guideline as to taste quality rather than whether or not it's still drinkable. The taste will sort of become affected after a while, but, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, sometimes bad coffee is better than no coffee. Don't quote me on that because that's not how I live on a day-to-day basis, but in an emergency type situation, then you're not going to have an option. It's either, you know, plain hot water or stale coffee. So you can make up your mind on the day whether or not you want to go with the option A or option B. So the other way that you can go, as you can sort of see over here, we also have, we have a lot of tea. So the other thing that you can do if you sort of alternate between tea and coffee, or if you're just a tea drinker, then just make sure that, just like with your food in your Mylar bags, then make sure you stock up a decent stash of tea products. So again, with the tea, it's not as straightforward as some people. I don't just have random sort of tea bags like your English breakfast or your Earl Grey or whatever. We frequent the tea centre and try all sorts of different blends and things of actual dried loose leaf teas. So that's another thing that, you know, it's nice to have now, and it's probably going to be essential if you still want some kind of caffeine drink afterwards, because that's really simple. All you've got to do is sort of get a filter and some hot water, and there's your tea. So maybe if you're sort of not comfortable with the idea of drinking stale coffee, then if you don't already drink tea, then maybe it's time to acquire the taste for it. If you guys have found this useful or interesting in any way, then feel free to share, like, subscribe. If you do subscribe, make sure that you hit the little bell so that you get notifications for when new videos are released. Otherwise, you guys might not get the notifications. So if you want to keep up to date with videos that we post, and at the moment I've been trying to get them up sort of, you know, every second day. So I'm at least trying to sort of get them up on a Tuesday and a Thursday. But I think at the moment we've been doing Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. wherever possible sort of thing. So yeah, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time.